Genes inherited from Neanderthals responsible for greater sensitivity to pain. New research shows that people who have variants of genes inherited from Neanderthals are more sensitive to certain types of pain. These discoveries show how interbreeding with Neanderthals in the ancient past influenced the genetics of modern humans. It's no secret that modern humans and Neanderthals interbred regularly. These love affairs from the ancient past have genetic consequences for our species. About 2% genes in our DNA come from our extinct cousins. In a new study, scientists from University College London, together with colleagues from Aix-Marseille University, the University of Toulouse, the Open University, Fudan University and Oxford University, determined that 3 gene variants from our ancestors' relationships with Neanderthals may increase sensitivity to certain types of pain. Variants of these genes are most often found in populations descended from indigenous peoples of the Americas. The results and description of the research were published in the journal, Communications Biology. The researchers focused on the analysis of the SCN9A gene, which encodes a protein that transports sodium into cells and helps sensory nerves send signals. They found 3 variants of this gene that make people with them more sensitive to pain caused by being pricked by a sharp object, but not to pain caused by heat or pressure. Previous research has identified 3 variations of the SCN9A gene, known as M932L, V991L and D1908G, in sequenced Neanderthal genomes. Scientists reported at the time that these variants made people wearing them more sensitive to pain. However, at the time it was unclear what specific sensory responses were affected. In the new study, scientists measured the pain threshold in response to various stimuli in 1,963 people from Colombia. They also analyzed their DNA. They found that the D1908G gene variant was present in about 20%. This population, and approximately 30% people wearing this variant also acquired the M932L and V991L variants. The researchers found that these 3 variants were associated with a lower pain threshold in response to skin pricking, but not in response to heat or pressure. Additionally, wearing all 3 variants was associated with greater pain sensitivity than wearing only one variant. When they analyzed genetic samples from 5,971 people from Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Mexico and Peru, they found that these 3 variants were more common in Native American populations, such as those in Peru. The authors of the research suggest that these so-called Neanderthal variants may sensitize sensory neurons by changing the threshold at which a nerve impulse is generated. While acute pain can cause behavior change and prevent further injury, scientists say additional research is needed to determine whether carrying these variants and greater sensitivity to pain may have been beneficial during human evolution. Since the Neanderthal genome was first sequenced, we have learned more and more about what we inherited from them as a result of interbreeding tens of thousands of years ago. Pain sensitivity is an important survival feature that allows us to avoid painful events that could cause us serious harm. Our findings suggest that Neanderthals may have been more sensitive to certain types of pain. But more research is needed to understand why this is and whether these specific genetic variants were evolutionarily advantageous, said Dr. Kaustubh Adhikari of University College London. But from Neanderthals we have not only inherited greater sensitivity to pain. Genetic material from our extinct cousins may influence the shape of our noses. Climate change will affect the taste and prices of beer. Scientists predict that increasingly warmer, longer and drier summers will result in significantly smaller hop harvests. This will translate into beer production. According to recent research, the climate crisis will make beer more expensive and taste worse. Research published in the journal Nature Communications shows that global warming will affect the quantity and quality of hops harvested on farms, a key ingredient in most beers. As a result, beer may become more expensive and producers will have to adapt their brewing methods to the situation. According to researchers' forecasts, hop yields from European crops will decline by 4%, up to 18% by 2050. If farmers do not adapt to warmer and drier conditions, hops could no longer be profitable. Additionally, the content of alpha acids in hop cones, compounds that give the drink its characteristic taste and smell, will decrease by approximately 20 to 31%. Beer drinkers will certainly feel the climate change, both in terms of price and quality. Based on our data, this seems to be inevitable, said Miroslav Tyarenka from the Academy of Sciences of the Czech Republic, co-author of the study. Beer holds an important place in culture. It is the most popular alcoholic drink in the world. Among the non-alcoholic ones, only water and tea are ahead of them. Humanity has been producing beer since ancient times. 2 years ago, scientists in southern China found evidence that beer was consumed as far back as 9,000 years ago. Also 2 years ago, archaeologists discovered a 5,000-year-old brewery in Egypt. Years when beer was produced on a mass scale. In recent years, there has been a rapid development of the craft beer industry, which has resulted in increased consumer demand for beers with a distinctive taste, at the same time resulting in an increased use of high-quality hops. And hops are the fourth key ingredient in the beer brewing process, next to water, yeast and malt. In a recent study, scientists checked how average hop yields changed in the years 1971 to 1994 and 1995 to 2018. These analyses showed that in some areas there was a decline in yields of almost 20%. They also showed that the production of hop cones decreased from 0.13 to 0.27 tons per hectare. Scientists from the Czech Academy of Sciences and the University of Cambridge have attributed the reduction in crop yields in recent years to drier conditions, a consequence of climate change. The study found that in Germany, the world's second-largest hop producer, average hop harvests dropped by 19.1%. In Spalt, 13.7% in Hallertau and 9.5% in Tettnang. But the largest decline in average annual hop yields was recorded in Celje, Slovenia, and amounted to 19.4%. Scientists emphasize that farmers must adapt their crops to the changing world. To improve crop yields, some people move their crops to higher ground or to valleys where there is more rainfall. Installing irrigation systems may also be a solution. However, the authors of the study claim that it will be necessary to increase the area used for growing hops by about 20% to compensate for the lower yields. If farmers do not adapt, climate change will threaten the viability of growing hops in some areas. The consequence will be lower production and higher prices of beer, said Martin Mozny from the Academy of Sciences of the Czech Republic, co-author of the study. The price of beer has already increased by about 13% since the pandemic in 2020, which is due to the increase in energy costs caused by inflation and the war in Ukraine. Hop growers will have to make every effort to ensure that they obtain the same quality of hops as they currently have, which will likely mean the need for greater investment, noted Tyarenka. Our universe is not unique. We may be part of a multiverse. Even 60 years ago it was heresy. Today physicists and cosmologists are increasingly inclined to the hypothesis that our universe is not the only one. We may be part of the multiverse, says Professor Laura Mersini-Horton. Professor Mersini-Horton works in theoretical physics and cosmology. She works at the University of North Carolina and was nominated for the Nobel Prize in 2015. She is a supporter of the multiverse hypothesis and claims that it can be indirectly proven. In her opinion, the existence of other universes may be indicated by anomalies observed in the structure of our universe. Until recently, even asking such a question was absurd. We know that there was a Big Bang that started our universe. However, it was considered unscientific to investigate what might have happened before the Big Bang. This shouldn't be asked at all. It was therefore claimed that we are unable to study even the very moment of the birth of the universe, because nothing, absolutely nothing, existed before its creation. We cannot fathom the conditions that contributed to its creation. Indeed, at this peculiar moment, as Stephen Hawking and Roger Penrose, one of the most outstanding physicists, argued, there was infinite energy density, what they called a singularity, and this singularity is the limit of our rational cognition. It seemed that the creation of our universe was beyond the scope of research, says Professor Mercini Horton. Over time, at the beginning of the 21st century, both famous researchers began to break down and lean more and more towards the multiverse theory. What was once an unconventional idea on the border of science is now in the mainstream of scientific research, notes the researcher. The specialist refers to the laws of quantum physics, especially the so-called quantum entanglement, the correlation of two or more quantum states. Thanks to this, the state of the entire system is better determined than the state of its parts. Such entanglement may occur in certain situations in two universes. Hence the theoretical possibility of indirectly searching for traces of another world in our universe. Just rely on the evidence available to us to gain extremely rich knowledge about the birth of the cosmos. It cannot be ignored that almost all the anomalies we predict can be discovered in the vast depths of our sky, he argues. The concept of multiverses has already been considered by ancient philosophers, as well as the fact that the Earth is not the center of our planetary system, much less the universe. However, they had no evidence of this. They still don't exist, but our cosmological knowledge is much greater. In modern times, Professor Address Lind first proposed the concept of an eternally repeating universe. He used the concept of the so-called cosmological inflation proposed in the 20th century by Professor Alan Guth. According to her, the early universe began to expand due to negative pressure, positive vacuum energy density. And since, he claimed, it happened once, it cannot be ruled out that such situations may spontaneously repeat themselves. In this way, subsequent bubble universes are created, like bubbles of foam, in this case cosmic foam. And they begin with episodes of fluctuation. The problem is that in this concept it is even more difficult to search for the beginning of our universe, as well as the entire multiverse. If the theory of eternal inflation is correct, then our origins are pushed into the infinitely distant past, hidden in the childhood of all the other bubble universes that existed before, admits the author of the book, Before the Big Bang. Can this process continue indefinitely? Professor Laura Mercini Horton believes that everything has to wear out, and so does the multiverse. In her opinion, duplicating the universe becomes more and more difficult over time, and the eternal inflation finally stops. In any case, he emphasizes, the cosmos is larger than our single universe. An atlas of human brain cells has been created. Scientists have catalogued over 3,000 different types of cells present in our brains. The massive cell atlas, the largest ever created, offers a detailed picture of complex interactions and lays the foundations for a much better understanding of the human brain. The Atlas of Cells present in the human brain was created as part of the Brain Research through Advancing Innovative Neurotechnologies Initiative project. Hundreds of scientists from around the world were involved in this work. The aim of the initiative was to catalogue brain cell types to improve understanding of brain function and the cellular mechanisms behind poorly understood brain diseases. The research results were published in a series of 21 scientific articles published in Science, Science Advances, and Science Translational Medicine. The detailed cell atlas of the entire human brain is a huge step compared to previously published work. This work provides a new look at the structure of our nervous system in many areas of the brain and what distinguishes the human brain. This data can be used to study brain organization at unprecedented resolution. Understanding our brain at the cellular level is the key to understanding exactly how our brain functions and to determining the causes of certain brain diseases. This knowledge could ultimately lead to better treatments. Scientists' work has shown that we have over 3,000 different types of cells in the brain. For many parts of the brain, this complexity and diversity has never been described before. Most of these cells are neurons, and the rest are various types of glial cells. Neurons, the cells of the brain and nervous system that send and receive signals, vary greatly in different parts of the brain, suggesting different functions and developmental histories. The mix of neurons and other cell types also varied by region, with some cells found only in specific locations. The brainstem, a relatively understudied structure connecting the brain to the spinal cord, contains an especially large number of different types of neurons. I see this as a pivotal moment in neuroscience, where new technologies allow us to understand the detailed cellular organization of the human brain and the brains of other primates. In fact, this work is a triumph for molecular biology, said Dr. Ed Len of the Allen Institute for Brain Science, who led several of the newly published studies. This research will also answer a number of important questions. How different are each person's brain at the cellular level? How different are our brains from monkey brains? How many types of brain cells do we have? What are the properties of these cells? How do these cells arise and mature during development? This set of studies is a groundbreaking achievement that builds an important bridge towards understanding the complexity of the human brain at the cellular level, said Dr. John Nye. Scientific collaboration is pushing this field forward at an exponential rate, and the progress and possibilities are simply breathtaking, he added. The research used post-mortem tissue taken from people who donated their brains for scientific purposes. Healthy, living tissue from patients who had undergone brain surgery and donated tissue for research was also used. Scientists examined, among others, variability of brain cell types between individual people. They found that although we all have the same types of cells in our brain, the proportions of certain types of cells and the genes they activate vary greatly from person to person. They also examined how genetic changes may contribute to the risk of certain diseases. They analyzed how more than 1 million brain cells from 3 donors access and use genetic information. Scientists have found links between certain types of brain cells and neuropsychiatric disorders, including bipolar disorder, depression and schizophrenia. The researchers also compared the brain cell types of humans and our closest relatives, chimpanzees and gorillas. These studies reveal that we share the same basic architecture of brain cell types. But there are changes in the genes used by these cell types. In particular, many of the genes involved in the connections between neurons and the formation of circuits in the brain differ between humans and other primates. They also compared the cells that make up different areas of the human cerebral cortex, which is responsible for many of our higher-order cognitive functions. Our visual cortex, where we process what we see, has been found to be much more specialized and distinct than other areas, and more specialized than the visual cortex of mice. This finding is likely related to the fact that humans and other primates use their sense of vision to a greater extent than many other mammals. The Human Brain Cell Atlas, although unprecedented in detail, is only a draft version. In the future, scientists want to decipher the function of newly discovered cells in the brain. They also want to understand how gene activity contributes to the development of neurological diseases.